Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Extreme heat waves not only pose a threat to humanity, ecosystems, and the global economy, but also increase the risk of other types of disasters. Heat can exacerbate droughts and water shortages that can destroy crops and lead to famine, while hot, dry weather can create wildfire conditions. The devastating chain effect of extreme heat waves, part 1 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
No to vegan, cause dead corpse and blood and pus are just your style.
Maru. Dear viewers, that means hello in Shona, one of the official languages of Zimbabwe. I'm Sibongli. The sensible people of Zimbabwe thank noble souls like you for making wise and virtuous choices. Welcome to our show, The Devastating Chain Effect of Extreme Heat Waves, Part 1 of 2. According to information from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, July 2021 was the hottest month ever recorded. The combined land and ocean surface temperature was 0.93 of a degree Celsius or 1.67 degrees Fahrenheit above the 20th century average, making it the hottest July since records began 142 years ago. We had an extremely hot summer in 2021, with many places on Earth breaking records for the highest temperature. The extreme heat waves affected hundreds of millions of people across continents, confirming a grim climate prophecy for many experts. Extreme heat waves not only pose a threat to humanity, ecosystems, and the global economy, but also increase the risk of other types of disasters. Heat can exacerbate drought and water shortages that can destroy crops and lead to famine, while hot, dry weather can create wildfire conditions. On today's program, we'll look into the extreme heat wave events of 2021 and the connection between heat waves and the triggering of many other disasters. Early in the summer of 2021, Western Canada and the Pacific Northwest in the US faced intense heat that the media described as an unprecedented heat wave. The village of Lytton in British Columbia reached 49.6 degrees Celsius, breaking the country's highest recorded temperature.
In some locations, the oppressive heat has soared as much as 25 degrees above average. In British Columbia alone, more than 40 locations have broken their all-time temperature records. Whistler, Seattle, and Portland also hit new top highs. Schools have been forced to close and cooling centres have been set up, many doing whatever they can to stay cool. Even the local wildlife have found ways to beat the heat.
Tanker trucks are hosing down drawbridges in Seattle to keep the metal from expanding and potentially affecting the opening and closing mechanism. The blistering heat has caused roads to crack and pavement to break up, with repair crews having to close multiple lanes to repair parts of this highway. Not surprising considering this warmth is unheard of.
Kathy Buffman-McLeod, Senior Vice President and Director of the Adrian Ashat Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center, is leading the global call for the dangers of extreme heat to be properly recognized. She says, "Heat is a silent killer. It sneaks up on you. It doesn't have a season and it isn't dramatic, but it is quietly killing more people than any other climate phenomenon, particularly in places that are not accustomed to such high temperatures." Authorities confirmed that thousands of people were taken to the hospital, with at least 570 deaths in Canada and 194 deaths in the US, linked to a record-breaking heat wave. In addition, the brutal heat wave killed millions of mussel people, clam people, and other people of the marine kingdom. It was also responsible for the death of nearly all juvenile Chinook salmon people in the Sacramento River, pushing the endangered people of the fish kingdom even closer to extinction, according to officials from the California Department of Wildlife.
He who permits the slaughter of an animal, he who cuts it up, he who kills it, he who buys or sells meat, he who cooks it, he who serves it up, and he who eats it must all be considered as the slayers of the animal. Manu Samhita, Hinduism.
We'll take a moment now to hear an important message and be back shortly. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our show, the devastating chain effects of extreme heat waves. The extreme heat also fueled deadly wildfires and worsened the current drought conditions in the western U.S.
Right now, parts of 7 southwestern states are experiencing what is known as exceptional drought, the most severe category of dry conditions. And in some of those same places, roughly 50 million people are about to endure temperatures well above 40 degrees Celsius. Nevada's Lake Mead is already at historically low levels, leaving bathtub ring markings along its shores. The consequences of this could be severe, as it is a major source of power and water for parts of the Southwest. In Utah, conditions have been so dry, the governor asked people to pray for rain.
The question is, are state leaders willing to accept that this is not a short-term drought, but that this is long-term climate change?
The prolonged droughts and extreme heat waves in the western U.S. contributed to the die-off of as many as 30% of the shrub vegetation, leaving highly flammable dry wood that can fuel future wildfires. In 2021, the wildfires have burned millions of acres and forced tens of thousands to evacuate. U.S. farmers are feeling the catastrophic effects of dried-up soils and water stress on their livelihoods, and this could threaten the U.S. food supply. 2020 was one of the 3 warmest years on record for Central America and the Caribbean, and the second warmest year for South America. In 2021, Latin America faced record droughts as a consequence of a temperature rise. Many countries in the region have been severely impacted, particularly Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, and Paraguay. Brazil is facing its worst drought in 91 years, threatening crop yields to drop by 20% and seriously damaging coffee crops. Deforestation has fueled forest fires, destroyed crops, and made the drought more intense. The country now faces an energy crisis, and with prices going up, the authorities have asked citizens to reduce their use of energy. The Paraná River's water levels are at their lowest since 1944 due to a prolonged drought in Brazil, where the river starts. The Paraná, the second longest river in South America, is one of the main commercial waterways in the region and the source of water for over 40 million people. Paraguay and Argentina normally transport 85 and 80% of foreign trade and crops respectively via rivers. However, now many businesses have turned to land transport because low river levels are making it more likely that boats will get stuck. Argentina's crop production has also dropped by 10% because of the droughts. In North America, Mexico experienced extreme drought in the last 6 months of 2020. The drought has further depleted Mexico's already fragile water supply. The entire Mexican economy is being severely affected as droughts are causing crop production to drop and are thus contributing to increased food prices. Experts have suggested that people and authorities should be prepared and equipped to cope with extreme weather events like this. However, Supreme Master Chinhai says that the best approach is to stop the global warming that causes climate change.
Some of the global warming effects that we hear about are a continued rise in the Earth's atmospheric temperature, warming of the ocean, along with acidification, more frequent and stronger storms, prolonged droughts, and intensified heat waves. The root is we have to stop the global warming first of all, before we even think of anything else. Because if we don't have the planet, because if global warming reaches more than 2 degrees, then we're in trouble. Then nobody can bear, especially hot country, like Mexico. They say they're going to increase to 5 degrees now. They predict like that. Can you imagine 5 degrees in Mexico? More?
No.
5 degrees Celsius. You'll be burning.
Yes.
We can never get out of the house. You understand me?
Yes.
And then all the crops will die. Too hot.
And people will die.
People die, animals die. Not to talk about anything else. Yes? And then disease will spread because of the heat. Yes? When everything is so depleted like that, I don't think it's a very good idea. First, have to stop the animal industry to cool the planet. And then for everything else, we can have time to take care of.
We pray to heaven that governmental authorities and citizens quickly choose the noble vegan lifestyle that is the only real solution to reduce the impact of climate change and extreme weather events.
Vegan, fight against evil.
Thoughtful viewers, thank you for your delightful company today. Please join us again next Monday for the concluding episode of the devastating chain effect of extreme heat waves. May the divine continue to bless noble, loving souls like you.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/PE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/PE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/PE.
รายการของเรามีให้หลายภาษาโปรดดู suprememastertv.com/schedule และ suprememastertv.com/PE